There's a structure to how I like to do things, but I don't think that we always necessarily do things the best way. Usually I get kind of serious before I make a video, as if I have to exert some sort of willpower, and to some extent I do. We need to focus, we need to pay attention, but we don't have to be serious. We don't have to come from this place of determination. Nothing is that important. Nothing is more important than your well-being, your peace of mind, your joy. This life is a gift. We're taught to struggle, but I like the idea that Jesus proposes. Doesn't God water the flowers, provide for the birds? How much do we really control? The bird goes out and tries to find a worm, needle in a haystack. And did he find the worm? Or was it provided? We struggle, but was it in vain? Was everything going to be eventually provided for us? I mean, if you're listening to this, everything has been provided thus far. Like the bird and the flower, to sustain your life, to prolong your experience in this matrix-like reality. And I would add to this, your breath is provided, your body has been provided, built and maintained, your heartbeat provided, your whole experience has been handed to you on a platter. Your sight, everything you see is experienced within. Everything you feel, smell, taste, all experienced within. We want to point fingers at the outside world, when if we're honest, it's all happening within. So I thank you for being here this week. I love you all. God bless and welcome. So what about this channel? What about all these channels? We talk about history, and it's no different. Everybody will have a different experience. There's no right or wrong. Ultimately, these are subjective possibilities. Some of the best books I've read are from the early 1900s. A lot of profound knowledge and understanding of the human condition came out of this time period, and then seems to have been lost, like all the old world architectural techniques, such as the true history. And these books dealt with the power of the mind and the ability to understand and help shape your reality. And every aspect that I consider, that we consider, is more advanced in the past. Art, philosophy, architecture, technology, and we really have to dig. And it's not just dig, we look at any part of history, any building, canal, fort, and character, and it begins to fall apart. And it was always like that. I remember thinking this way beginning in about the 3rd grade. I enjoyed school until the 3rd grade, and I still enjoyed parts of it, but not the curriculum and the stories that we were given about history. And therein lies the problem. All problems, even though they're not, because problems are not problems if there's a solution. So the stories we tell about our own experience, keep us anchored in a false past, keep us anchored in the emotion we felt. And it happens without wise people around or culture. It's very difficult to process some things, especially when we're young. But the stories are false. They remove us from reality. And when we remove the story, I believe we're left with reality. In the case of ourselves, we feel good. In the case of history, we see truth. We can appreciate the reality of what we're seeing without the BS story. So today, the story of a man. Full stop. Bruce Price. Old Bruce here. Lived a little over 50 years. 50-year-old Bruce. And who is Bruce? Bruce is a weird name. I like it. It would be hard to be a Bruce. What's your name? Bruce. Pretty strong name. Let me know if your name is Bruce. It reminds me of spruce, a tree. Sometimes I call Chief Goose. But anyway, this man is responsible for some of the most impressive architectural designs ever. This man, according to this story, is a genius. Nothing less. Everyone should know this man. I mean, if all of this is true. He was an American architect and innovator in the shingle style. Shingle style is an American architectural style made popular by the rise of the New England School of Architecture. Highly ornamented patterns, the Eastlake style in Queen Anne architecture. So here we go. He also designed Richardsonian Romanesque buildings. Some of my favorites. You'll know the style. Richardsonian Romanesque is a style of Romanesque revival, named after American architect Henry Hobson Richardson, another character we've discussed, architect. And this style is reminiscent of the 12th century Southern French, Spanish, and Italian Romanesque characteristic. Like, exactly. So these people really are just copying these great architects. Richardson here, which this new style, anything built after the 12th century, French and Spanish era, is given credit to this man, Henry Richardson. Call it the Richardsonian Romanesque. Roman, Greek, now just throwing this name. And Richardsonian, really, perhaps at its core, a hint of truth, being kingly or royal or castle-like. But anyway, he designed buildings like that too. Also designed Beaux-Arts mansions. Beaux-Arts also some of my absolute favorite, just overkill detail. And it drew upon the principles of French neoclassicism. He designed Manhattan skyscrapers, and here we go. In Canada, this is how I first discovered him. He designed chateau-esque railroad stations. Boom. And this thing is awesome. Castle in Canada, which we discover, according to the story, is a railroad station. Railroad. And it actually sits on a star fort. You can see the star fort here. And we can see that over here. Let's just have a quick look from above. Here is the castle. Huge, all this. And then this massive old star fort wall up here, and then it cuts over this way, and here we can see it continues. All of these buildings are amazing. Again, the Star Fort wall continues and continues, and you can see it better from up here. The Citadel of Quebec and the Chateau right here. And all of this is, or will have been, part of the Star Fort. But anyway, the railroad terminal, and he's given credit. Let's look at him again. Here he is. Bruce. Thank you, Bruce. Designing this Chateau Frontenac in Quebec. Also the Windsor Station in Montreal. We can see that here. There we go. Bruce Price. And here we can see the Windsor Station in the 1900s with the horse and wagon down here. Horse and wagon. We see they've built a little wood shack, perhaps to keep feed for the horses. This is like a little terminal, horse terminal, and here we can see the railroad terminal. Hallelujah. How many stories? Windsor Station. Oh, the Windsor Station. Another look at the entrance to the Windsor Station. But I digress. Price was born in Maryland. Sorry if that pronunciation is offensive. It sounds nicer that way. The son of William and Marion Bruce Price. So, the son of William. William is clearly the father, and his mother's name is Marion Bruce, apparently. Very strong name for a woman. But anyway, you needed to be strong back then. He studied for a short time at Princeton University, began working in Baltimore, and then he practiced Pennsylvania from 1873 to 1876. Okay, so here we go. He was born in 1845, and he dies in 1903. So here we are in 1873. He's only got 25 years left. 25, here we go. The career is starting. He went to school. His mother's name was Bruce. And he settles in New York City in 1877. What are we going to do with our last 25 years? He works on a series of projects, designs a 7,000-acre planned community in Tuxedo Park, a village in Orange County, New York, and many of these... Oh, the cat has jumped on me. Amongst the Manhattan office buildings he designed, there was the American Surety Building, skyscraper, the Bank of Metropolis, the Richard Hunt Memorial, the Georgian Court University. So let's take a pause and look at some of his most notable works. Notable works. This is going to be fun. Let's look at Bruce again. Hello, Bruce. Hello. Bless you. And again, thank you. So Bruce's work. Here we go. Remember, he only had 25 years left after his schooling. Busy Bruce. Bustling, benevolent Bruce. But anyway, United States and Canada. We looked at the Welsh Hall a minute ago. Or actually, we didn't. I did that before I started recording. But anyway, a bunch here. Bunch of houses, halls, the Elizabeth train station, built in 1 year, and I couldn't resist. Here it is, the Elizabeth station. And just one of these. I mean, let's say all he worked on was the chateau here, the Chateau Frontenac. That would be great. And this is just excessive. Just in Tuxedo Park, New York, all of these, all 1 years, just squeezing all this history on the shoulders of this man, Bruce. Here, for example, in Canada, this place is a combination railroad station and hotel. Once again, just a little side project. And again, the railroad. I've told you over and over, especially recently, that I believe everything is connected throughout this realm. And the railroad is a big clue. The rail system, like the canals and everything, are from the old world. And these are all overly built for these functions in this time period. Again, in a horse and wagon era, there's no reason for everything to be built this way. There's no means to excavate this way, and not in a year. So that's all. Let's take a minute and look at something else. Okay, last part. I want to show you this monument to the Battle of Nations in Leipzig, Germany. I love this thing. Throughout the years, I look at it over and over. Here is the side facing the water feature. Just a beauty. It's a monument for a battle in 1813. 1813. So there's a story, and here is the fruit of the story, if we believe the story. And the story is that they kicked the French out. Napoleon. The defeat of the army of Napoleon. Let's look at Napoleon here. Let us appreciate this man that was a fierce, brutal military leader. A man that could command armies through snow and hunger. But anyway, he got his ass kicked, and the Germans built this. Here we go. Germans built this. Now this thing is sick. This thing is buried. Has so many levels. The amount of excavation and heavy machinery required to build and excavate this site is unimaginable. Something that should take 50 years in an early time period. Surely it wasn't that early. Let's see. When did they build this? And really, the building is just the top. So shortly after the battle, this man, a historian and writer, proposes a large monument on the site. Who cares? Some writer has to say. Why would this even make its way into history? Well, that's the story. A lot of influence. This old writer laid a cornerstone in 1863 and construction 1894. Of course, they held a competition, always how it begins, in a time where it would be very difficult to hold competitions and submit things back and forth. But anyway, 1895, 32 designs were submitted, and the prize went to Carl Döflin from Berlin. But they weren't happy with his design, and they went back and forth. Some man named Schmidt delivers a new design in 1897, so we're wasting a lot of time with this competition. It's presented to the Emperor Wilhelm II. What a mustache on Wilhelm. Wilhelm. Come on. Well, he approved, thank you. Groundbreaking ceremony is held in 1898. A total of 82,000 cubic meters of earth was moved in the following 2 years. Construction then began. Construction was finished on schedule for the 100th anniversary of the battle in 1913. There we go. And let's have a look at this construction photo in 1912. 1912. So they've already excavated everything. We have stairs, concrete. I'm not sure what's going on here. And actually, I did have a theory. Of course, this doesn't look like new construction. But let's look at the face of this thing, as I was earlier. Here we go. Leipzig Battle Monument. Let's drop the man right in the front here. And here we go. So look at this blockage. I mean, either you cast the block like this, or what they have done is perhaps carved on this old blockage. And I don't know, even that would be an absolutely impressive feat, which I'm not sure they would be capable of. I mean, this is really, really skilled work here. In fact, it reminds me of a lot of different architectural wonders, this style. First of all, this thing, this looks like a fasces that he's standing on. And in a strange way, this has a kind of Quetzalcoatl Mayan feel, or artistry. And it's really impressive the way it's been carved into the block. Let's get a little closer again. Oh, this is good. And again, Mayan blockage, reminiscent in some ways. And as always, I'll end with the absolute fact that I don't know. So I hope you've enjoyed this week. I love you all. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one.